Storm Tracker Team Forecast with Jesse Gunkel.
Welcome back. Well, just before we get back to looking at Laura and its possible strength, I just want to show you we got a new tornado warning out there just a little bit north of Jackson. If you fall anywhere within this red cone, again, please seek shelter immediately. This is a Doppler indicated tornado. Nothing confirmed on the ground, but a potential spin up that could cause a little bit of damage, some flying debris. So just be well aware of that. Elsewhere, again, we still got some showers out there. We've got more developing a little bit closer to the coast, and those will also eventually move in. Just stay weather aware and alert through the evening hours because this is going to be an ongoing occurrence until this system is gone. So Hurricane Laura right now, winds sustained at 145, but they're currently flying through the system right now, and it looks like they may have found winds up to 150 to 155 miles per hour. And would you believe it? 157 is a Category 5. So again, we're right on the verge of becoming a Category 5 storm just before landfall. Again, it may just be a short cycle out there. We got a little bit of shear. You can kind of see it fan off a little bit, but still, it's still bubbling up in a lot of areas and it's kind of condensing again here. So we'll just have to see if we see that banding. It's a very large eye with little vortices kind of stuck in the middle. You can almost see the, where you call it, the blue, the white, to the green, to the yellow. That's that stadium effect with this large eye. And you notice it's starting to make more of a wobble almost directly north at this point. So we could see a little bit of a shift further towards the east. And you got to remember these impacts are far reaching, but notice what happens. If that system walks a few miles towards the east, our impacts are going to be greater here in the capital area. You see Category 4, potentially a weak Category 5, but overall still very destructive and life-threatening. And as you see here, big thing is you want to see that dry air come in. You want to see shear kind of rip the system apart. We are seeing a little bit off in the distance, but I think it's too far away. This system's already going to be inland. It's going to be too late before it actually has any impact whatsoever. So as you see here, we may get to a brief Category 5, maybe a 4, a very strong 4 still. As you notice, winds sustained at 150 miles per hour by Thursday, driving through the state. Good news is it rapidly weakens across the state and then drives across the Tennessee Valley out towards the mid-Atlantic. But here, wind gusts 175 miles per hour, and it really isn't too far from the coast. Still expecting landfall right around midnight or slightly after. You see, by the time we get to about 2, and I'm showing you this model because it's kind of giving us a pretty good indication as to what you're going to see. We got that first band to come through. It picked up on that. Now, watch what happens. As the system climbs through the state, it starts to drift a little bit back towards Alexandria. Some of those heavy feeder bands sit on top of us, and the concern is more tornadoes quickly getting spawned from these type of bands because there's a lot of wind shear and heavy rainfall at times. It's tropical air. We could easily see 3, maybe 6 inches of rain over a very short period of time. And as you notice, that is all morning from about 2 a.m. to about 9, 10. We could be dealing with showers. So you start to do the math at this point, and you're talking anywhere from 6 to 12 plus inches of rainfall possible in some locations. So again, that is going to be the concern. Inland flooding for a lot of areas. Need to monitor our rivers and streams and our little bayous out there because again, they fill up very quickly out there. So watch out if you have to drive. My advice obviously is to not be on the roadways as we head into those overnight hours, and we finally don't get a break until about Thursday afternoon. Plus there is that potential for another wave to move in early on Friday. So we've got wind advisory east of the Mississippi, tropical storm warnings for everything west of the Mississippi, everything west of Lafayette and I-49. Now a hurricane warning, but notice the probability of tropical storm force winds nearly 90 to 100%, obviously for portions of the viewing area. And watch the possible wind gusts. By the time it gets near landfall, we're talking about 43 miles per hour. So that is tropical storm force winds. We're talking up to about 50 at times as it moves right past us at the same latitude. And you see here, we could even see it climb to about 50, 55 at times. And at that chance we get some of those feeder bands, we could easily see those wind gusts at 40, 50, maybe even up to about 60 miles per hour. Storm surge for the entire coast. And why? Well, as you see here, 2 stories of water. Unsurvivable is what they call it. And the concern is that's a massive wall of water moving inland, and you see how far inland it reaches. I-10 and potentially north of I-10 as we make our way into the morning hours, and really even along our entire coast, seeing a lot of storm surge. I think locally here, concern will be flash flooding for a lot of areas. Most areas kind of range in that 3 to 5. But again, it's where those feeder bands really set up that those totals could go from 3 to 5 to 6 to 12, and so on. So again, we need to watch that. We'll have more on your local impacts coming up in just a bit.
And now your Storm Tracker team forecast with Jesse Gunkel.